In the quiet rural village of Umwani, surrounded by red dusty roads, palm trees, and small mud houses, stood the biggest church in the community, Holy Fire Deliverance Church. Every Sunday, the villagers gathered there dressed in white garments and colorful wrappers, singing loudly under the hot Nigerian sun. Among the respected members of the church was Deacon Daniel. Daniel was a light-skinned, handsome man in his early 40s. He carried himself with pride, always wearing clean white kaftans and polished shoes. Women admired him. Men respected him. His deep voice during Bible readings made people believe he was a true servant of God. He was married to Grace, a beautiful Christian woman with calm eyes and a gentle spirit. Grace loved God deeply. She woke up every morning before sunrise to pray for her family. Together, they had 2 children, 12-year-old Samuel and little Esther, who was only 7. To the villagers, they looked like the perfect family. But behind the walls of their home, darkness was slowly growing. Daniel had a dangerous secret. Every market day, after church meetings or night vigils, he secretly met with different women from the same church. Some were widows. Some were choir members. Others were young women looking for financial help. Daniel used his position in the church to gain their trust. One evening after choir rehearsal, a young woman named Ngozi sat with her friend behind the church building. "I am tired," Ngozi whispered nervously. "Deacon Daniel keeps promising to marry me if he leaves his wife." Her friend gasped. "You mean, you are also involved with him?" Ngozi looked down in shame. Unknown to them, Grace was nearby arranging chairs inside the church hall. She froze when she heard Daniel's name. Her heart began to race. "No, it cannot be my husband," she muttered. But deep inside, she remembered the late-night calls. The strange perfume on his clothes. The lies. The sudden anger whenever she asked questions. That night, Grace could not sleep. Daniel lay beside her snoring peacefully while tears rolled silently down her face. The next morning, she decided to investigate quietly. Days later, Grace visited the village market unexpectedly. As she passed through the crowded stalls, she suddenly saw Daniel standing behind a provision shop with a young church member named Anita. They were laughing. Then Anita touched his chest lovingly. Grace's basket fell from her hands. The tomatoes scattered across the ground. Daniel turned and their eyes met. Fear covered his face instantly. "Grace," he shouted. But Grace walked away silently, shaking with pain. That evening, the entire house was tense. "Please listen to me," Daniel begged. "It is not what you think." Grace stared at him with red swollen eyes. "How many women, Daniel?" she asked quietly. Daniel kept silent. "How many women have you slept with while preaching holiness in church?" Still silent. Grace's voice broke. "I defended you before everyone. I called you a man of God." Daniel knelt down. "The devil tempted me." Grace suddenly became angry. "Do not blame the devil for your wickedness," she screamed. The children woke up and began crying. Neighbors gathered outside as the shouting continued through the night. Within days, rumors spread across the entire village. Church members whispered during service. Women insulted each other publicly. Some of Daniel's secret lovers began exposing him out of jealousy. One Sunday morning, the church service turned chaotic. Anita stood up in the middle of prayer. "You are all calling him holy," she shouted. "But Deacon Daniel has destroyed many women in this church." The congregation exploded in shock. Another woman pointed from the back. "I was also with him." Then another voice shouted, "He promised me money." The pastor could not control the crowd. Grace sat frozen on the front bench while tears streamed down her face. Her children held onto her wrapper tightly. Daniel stood there sweating, unable to speak. For the first time in his life, the powerful deacon looked small. That night, Grace packed her clothes quietly. Daniel blocked the doorway. "Please don't leave," he begged desperately. "I will change." Grace looked at him with deep pain. "You did not only cheat on me," she said softly. "You destroyed my trust, my peace, and my dignity before this village." She carried little Esther in her arms while Samuel held her bag. Daniel fell to his knees crying as she walked away into the dark village road. The villagers watched silently from their compounds. Weeks later, Daniel stopped attending church. The same people who once praised him now avoided him completely. Grace moved into her late father's small house at the edge of the village. Life became difficult, but she found peace again. She began selling vegetables in the market to care for her children. One evening after rain had fallen, Grace sat outside watching Samuel and Esther play in the muddy compound. For the first time in many years, she smiled. Sometimes, the deepest betrayal comes from the people who pray beside us. And sometimes, walking away is the beginning of healing. A respected church deacon. A faithful wife who trusted him completely. And a shocking secret that destroyed everything. In this emotional Nigerian village story, Grace discovers that her husband Daniel has been secretly cheating with women from their own church. What happens next will leave the entire village speechless. Love, betrayal, heartbreak, and painful truth collide in this powerful African drama that proves not every man of God is who he claims to be.